Most people don't fail because they aren't capable. They fail because they don't believe that they are capable. And that's what we're going to get into this week on the Brute for Life podcast. Welcome back. I hope you guys enjoyed the last episode. So let's talk about betting on ourselves and the things we do to sabotage ourselves in ways that we can avoid putting ourselves in the position where we don't think highly enough of ourselves to be successful. The reality of life is that there's always challenges, and there is a large segment of people that don't have self-confidence to be able to take those steps. Now, the issue with that is that in all the things we can do in life, in all the things that we can be exposed to in the world doesn't hand out any confidence. You need to focus on yourself to build it. And it's safe to say that during all of the experience that we've had, you've probably doubted yourself way more than you've believed in yourself. And you have never really allowed anybody to actively help you get better, to actively see the positive things that you have that allow you to be successful, but you hold yourself back from getting it. All it takes is the ability to be able to look at yourself and take those steps. You don't need to be more talented. You need to believe in yourself more. And that's where we're going to start this. Nobody's going to come and convince you that you are this highly successful person and you have all the tools. You need to do it yourself. So let's get into it this week. Where does self-doubt come from? What are the things that we have experienced in our lifetime that has absolutely destroyed our ability or has impacted our ability to be able to believe in ourselves that what we can do and what our potential is to do is there? Where did it get destroyed along the way? Was it childhood trauma? Was it something that we learned while we were growing up? Was it negative words that were said to us when we were growing up that made us think that we're not enough? Was it situations we were in growing up that made us feel like we weren't good enough? And it might not even pertain to your skill set and your ability to do certain things. It could just come from, like feeling like you weren't important enough. It could be, those words that were exchanged from our parents that really didn't have anything to do with what we have perceived it to be, but it has impacted us to the point where we don't think that we are good enough to do something. How about the fear of failure? I think all of us have that. Nobody wants to fail at anything. And I think own biggest faults is that when we feel like we're not going to be successful at something, we get so scared of it, we talk ourselves out of it that we don't even give ourselves the chance to show ourselves that we can do it. You automatically talk ourselves out of it and say, well, you can't do that. You've never done that before. What makes you think you can do it now? All of this stuff that goes on inside of our heads that completely makes us take steps back from being able to do that one thing that we need to do in order to take a step forward. About comparing ourselves to others. It's all over the place now, right? So we compare ourselves to classmates, we compare ourselves to siblings, we compare ourselves to other family members, we compare ourselves to coworkers, we compare ourselves to celebrities, we compare ourselves to athletes. We do it constantly. And we see our own ability and we see somebody else's ability, and we automatically think that we can't do that. But really, all you have to do is put in the work. You might not be at the same level, but I'll be fucking goddamned if you can't be equally as successful in your own right doing the same things. We cannot let somebody else's ability and somebody else's platform sculpt the way we think of ourselves. We can't allow that to keep us from climbing to the top of our own pedestal. We have to be better than that. And it starts with thinking that you can. Something else that impacts us is when we have tried to do those things, but we didn't succeed in doing it. Now, I've said it a million times, trial and error, right? So every single time you try something, you're not always going to be successful at it. I won't, sugarcoat it and fucking gaslight you. The reality is that some people can be successful at new things, trying them for the first fucking time. Hooray for them. A larger percent of the population needs to practice and try it over and over and over again. So don't beat yourself up and don't think that you are incapable of doing something just because you failed at it for the first time. First time I sat down to do a podcast, I was nervous. I was scared. I thought I sounded like shit. I felt like I tripped over my words, all of those things. It's the first time you're doing it. You learn through doing it. You learn through practice. Don't kill yourself right from the get-go by thinking that you failed and not learning from those mistakes and learning from those stumbling blocks. You have to take that step. Everybody takes a first step at some point, and not all of us are going to be successful. I bet 9 times out of 10, we're all going to trip and fall, but we need to fucking learn something from it. Your past doesn't define your ceiling. Remember that. Your past does not define your ceiling. It doesn't. If you guys have listened to past episodes, here's a key thing about that statement from those past episodes. One of my great friends who's been on this podcast had a substance abuse problem. This man I thought was successful before he went into rehab, but where he's at in life right now is far superior than where he was before. And that's because he didn't let his past define where he could go with his life and where his potential lied. He buckled down and he drove through it, and he's coming out the other side, not just sober, but highly successful. So don't let your past define where your ceiling's at. What about the cost of not believing in yourself? What impact does that have on you? Where does not believing in yourself lead you and help keep you in an idle position, allowing your thoughts of I'm not good enough to impact where your growth could potentially be? The first thing I think would be, as it pertains to work, is postings, job opportunities, any of those things, right? So you have to be self-aware, one, where your skill set lies and where your opportunities lie, right? So I would say right from the get-go, if there's an opportunity within your job to be able to take a promotion and be more successful at what you do, to learn more and put yourself in a position for growth, those opportunities within that is definitely a first step. But you have to be realistic about where you're at, right? Do your skills supersede where your opportunities are? Do you have more skills that pertain to that job than you have opportunities? Because be fair, when you get promoted, you need to know at least 85% of how to do that job. Some of it is going to be learned on the job. You just need to be efficient for that position when you move into it. As you're in that position in a period of time, you will gradually get better, know more, and then it's going to put you in a position to be able to be promoted. So look at that for what it is. But if you have all those things and you choose not to take that step, then yeah, it's a missed opportunity. You doubting yourself and whether or not you could do that role holds you back from being successful. Be objective, be real. When you fit the criteria for what that position is and you choose not to do it, you're holding yourself back. You can't blame anybody else at that point for why you didn't get that job other than yourself. How about playing safe? Yeah, I'm just going to stay here. I'm happy with where I'm at. No, fuck that. Everybody wants more in life. There's not a single person that says they are happy with where they are in life. We all need more money. We all want more time with our families. Being idle doesn't get us any of those things. So don't play fucking safe. Push yourself, work outside of those boundaries sometimes, and give yourself an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to prove to yourself that you can do it. Regret versus failure. Regret lasts way longer than failure does. If you fail at something, you learned something. But if you didn't even try, now you're going to be what-ifing yourself for God knows how fucking long. And if you end up in the same position for a very long time, that regret will linger even longer. You'll be into your later years going, I wish I took that fucking opportunity. Don't do it. Take the failure, learn from it, and then use it to your advantage to grow. And do not watch others that you talk up and you tell them that you can do this and blah, 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 and you don't fucking believe it in yourself. Don't you fucking sit back and watch them succeed from all the things that you help push them to do. Because if you have the ability to tell somebody that they are goddamn good at something and they should take that opportunity, then you should do it yourself. Staying safe is the most dangerous thing you can fucking do to yourself. And regret will weigh more than the failure ever will. So don't stay in the safe zones. It's impossible to lose at something that you've never even tried. So don't set yourself up to lose and don't be afraid to lose. Both of those things, you will learn something and it will help you push on to a better place. Do not hold yourself back. I'm telling you, like, when I look back at my life and I see the opportunities that were set before me that I didn't take and where it could have led me to right now, I don't regret it as much as I think I do. You know what? Like, if that makes any sense. I had opportunities to go and do things overseas. I regret not doing it because who knows where that opportunity would have fallen. But at the same time, would I have the life I have right now with my wife, my two boys, and all those things? I don't know. Is there a little bit of regret? Yes. But is it something that I think about on a regular basis? Not so much. But all of us have some form of it. So with all of that said, right? We've talked about why we're hard on ourselves and why we don't take opportunities, why we have all those self-doubts. We talked about the things that are costing us our ability to be able to step up and do those things. Now, how do we get to the point where we could start believing in ourselves? How can we push ourselves through those obstacles in order to get to that next step where we could start proving to ourselves that not only can we do it, but we can be successful at it? The first step, make yourself some small promises, things that you promise yourself you're going to do in order to achieve that goal, and hold yourself to them. You know, if that goal for you is to start feeling better and exercise on a regular basis, promise yourself you're going to do it and then do it. Don't let yourself talk yourself out of it. Don't let your mind change your direction. Make yourself a promise and stick to it. You have to. You'll build the trust within yourself that, hey, I can fucking do this. I can take that step. And then as you make those promises and you start seeing the wins, your confidence will grow from the proof that you can do it. Now it's not just somebody hyping you up and talking to you like, hey, you can do this and blah, 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 blah. You did a promise. You achieved the goal of that promise. And now you get to reap the rewards of that promise. That will help you take those little bitty steps inside of yourself to help show you that you can build that confidence to do those things. How about controlling your environment? Remove the negativity. It's one of the hardest things to do, I think, in a person's life is to be able to remove negative objects from their life or distance themselves from negative things. If you can do it, one, you will see an eerie calm come over your life because you're not dealing with somebody else's negative. You're not dealing with somebody putting you down or telling you that you're incapable of doing something. You will find that your world gets smaller, not a bad thing, and your confidence within yourself will start to grow. Because you don't have somebody who probably doesn't want to see you succeed or is going to be jealous if you do succeed, tell you that you can't do it. It all takes you controlling your environment, moving those pieces and those people and those situations out of your inner circle. And the people that listen to you, listen, not share their advice right away. Listen to what you're telling them. Those are the ones that are going to matter. Those are the ones you keep close. I've said this before. The next one is talk better about yourself. I always thought people were crazy for standing in the mirror and talking positively about themselves or whatever else. I always thought it was arrogance and whatever else. But if you can do that and look at yourself directly in the eye and say something positive about yourself on a daily basis, you'll find that like it doesn't breed arrogance. It breeds self-confidence. When you talk bad about yourself, like, oh, I'm fat, I can't do this, like you're not funny or whatever the case may be, you really start to believe that shit. And the one person you need to be positive and proactive and really help you grow is you. You're the foundation of your growth. The last thing is going to be take action before you actually feel like you're 100% ready for that next step. Your confidence will follow your actions, not the other way around. Actions don't always breed confidence. But when you don't feel like you're 100% ready and you take that step and you do those things, you will start to see your confidence grow. There's a real thing about confidence isn't found, it's built. And that's a reality, like baby steps are what builds confidence. You don't need motivation. You don't need somebody else to show you the path. You just need to move yourself and act like the person you want to become. Don't wait to feel it. Start acting like the person you want to become. And discipline in those processes will get you believing in yourself. So what happens when you finally start to believe in yourself? You will see you start taking on more objectives. You start challenging yourself a little bit more. You don't wait for somebody to validate what you're doing in order for you to feel like you've done it successfully. You start doing things more consistently, and then the magic really happens when all the opportunities you have been waiting for start to show up. And they show up because you showed up for yourself. You didn't quit on yourself. You didn't give up. You didn't stop when the challenge got a little bit hard. You didn't stop when you started to fail at something. You learned from that fucking mistake. You learned from that failure and you grew the next year, right? One of the greatest athletes of all time was also one of the hardest workers. Kobe Bryant was never fucking satisfied. The man won how many rings? He was ultra successful in life, but he was still always the first person in the gym and the last fucking person to leave. And winning one game didn't mean shit to him until he achieved the goal he had for himself. You got to be more like him. That Mamba mentality is what they call it. But it's just believe that you can do it and don't stop fucking pushing yourself until you can do it. You want to be successful. That's where success is bred. Believing in yourself, teaching yourself, not be afraid to fail, not be afraid to fall, and don't be afraid to take the risk. A risk within reason. I'm not telling you to just fucking take a blind leap. A risk within reason, but you got to take it. And you'll find that confidence becomes contagious. And especially to yourself. When you start feeling that win and start feeling that you can do these things and start feeling that success within yourself, and you start smiling when you think about it because you are so proud of yourself that you pushed your challenge outside of where you ever thought you could ever fucking take it. That's where confidence will start to just breed. It'll start to mutate, it'll start to modify, and it'll start to grow within you to a point where you feel like you can take on anything. Now, I'm not saying take that confidence to a point where it breeds into arrogance. I'm saying take that confidence in a humble way and go after those things that you want out of this life. Don't let your own thoughts be the thing that holds you back from being everything that you want to be. You're not stuck. You're just too fucking scared to move. So take that as a reason to want to take that step forward. Being scared is a normal thing, but don't allow being scared to keep you planted in the same spot. Nobody believes in you at first, and that's fucking normal. But confidence comes after you start, not before. So be able to take that first step. Don't wait for somebody to push you because sometimes that person's never going to fucking come. And you will sit at that stop sign or the yield sign waiting for somebody to wave you through. Don't do it. The life you want is just on the other side. Look at yourself, take that self-doubt and say, you know what? I got you. I got this. We can do this. Me and this confidence, me and this struggle, me and this self-awareness. We can get through this. Stick your middle finger up to being scared and allow yourself to grow to where you want to be. Success is literally right around the corner. Don't be afraid to go after it. And don't let somebody say that you can't. Because if you can't, then that means that you need to be willing to do whatever learning it takes. And that is, don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to take a risk. Don't be afraid, period. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate all of the support. I appreciate all the listens. Check out all the social media pages, Root for Life podcast, Root for Life TikTok page, Dad Son Community. Hope you guys have a great week. And as always, we'll see you next time.